everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to something we haven't done in a few weeks, but a Friday morning news brief. A couple things in the news today for video games and movies and entertainment and all the nerdy goodness you come to this channel for. You just come to watch me fail at Mega Man X like I did earlier today on the stream. But anyways, we got a couple things we're going to talk about that's in the news today. First up is Captain America Brave New World not doing well amongst critics. Not a big surprise there. We're going to get to more of that detail in a second. Mark Hamill under fire for a clickbait Vanity Fair article. And then the PlayStation State of Play disappoints. Shocker there, but I think a lot of that has to do with people's own expectations on what they thought was going to get announced. I feel guilty to that, but it's more my own hubris of wanting two games announced that are probably never going to get announced. So every time there's any kind of Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation Direct kind of thing like that, I'm just going to assume they're going to announce this game and it never gets announced. So that's my own fault. Just like it's your own fault for being disappointed in the PlayStation State of Play. But let's start off with Captain America Brave New World. Currently, as of recording, it has a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, Rotten Tomatoes is not the be-all, end-all. Just it's an aggregate that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's what everyone uses. So I'm using it here because that's what everyone relates to. And it just means only 52% of the critics give it a favorable score, which is a 3 out of 5 or above. Personally, I like to use Metacritic for these kind of things just because Metacritic is more precise. And I should actually be, I don't know why I didn't look up the Metacritic score. I'm going to pull that up right now. Captain America, Brave New World. Oh, it's a 43 on Metacritic. That's even worse. Oh, based on 48 critic reviews. Oh, but I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised by this just because of all the reshoots they did. Rumor has it, and again, rumors, not anything I'm doing, but this is being reported on that Disney has switched away from social politics for their movies. They realize that the people who are demanding all this social politics in movies, they're not the majority of moviegoers. The majority of moviegoers are families, young men, things like that, and they don't particularly like what Disney's been selling them lately. You can tell by Disney stock prices. I'm so glad I sold that stock a while ago. It was tanking like no one's business. I made a small profit, luckily. I got out at the right time. But so Captain America was already in the can, and they've done at least 2 reshoots, if not 3, that some outlets have been reporting. So when you kind of mishmash a film like that, you have to have a hell of an editor to save it. And obviously, because Disney has been cheaping out on these films lately, they didn't have that editor on staff, on retainer. So sadly, Anthony Mackie's first movie outing as Captain America looks like it's going to fail, because I know pre-order sales have been low, and it's only expected to make $98 million its opening weekend, which used to be awesome. Like if a film made $98 million just total, it used to be a huge success. But with the reported budget of $480 million, it's probably going to fall low, below that. I can't talk. It's probably going to fall well below that budget, and it's just that I like Anthony Mackie, love Harrison Ford. It's sad that these 2 fantastic actors did not get a script worthy of their talents, obviously, to make a fantastic movie. And I have a Japanese retro video game hunt on my TV, and I just saw The Legend of Zelda for the Famicom Disk System for 900 yen, and I'm going to have to rewatch that to find out where that is when I go to Japan in a month. Just because that's one of the games, that's like one of my grails is Disk System, Legend of Zelda. But back to Captain America. So it's just kind of sad, really. I really like Anthony Mackie. I like Sam Wilson. I did a video, I'll link it at the end of this one, how I don't think passing the mantle of Captain America in the MCU works for various reasons. But had we gotten a Sam Wilson Falcon film, a Falcon and a Winter Soldier film, buddy cop movie, Lethal Weapon style, that would have been great. Disney, Marvel, again, I'm giving you free ideas here. You could, have me on retainer. I don't even need to write for you. Just say, hey, Josh, what should we do for this movie? And I will tell you what will make money. And then I'll review your script and say, this is trash, rewrite it, kind of thing. But I'm getting a little arrogant here. But that's all we wanted from Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series. We wanted to see Sam and Bucky act the way they did in Civil War, and kind of how they acted in the first parts of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan have fantastic charisma together. And those two need to do more films together with better writers and better producers, because Kevin Feige, you've lost the Midas touch. So sadly, I think Captain America Brave New World is gonna flop hard. But hopefully they still keep working with the Sam Wilson character, because again, I really like Anthony Mackie. I like his character Sam Wilson in the MCU. Don't be discouraged by this. And I need more Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk going forward too, unless they kill him off. I have no idea. I haven't seen it yet. Probably going to wait for Disney Plus on this. Movie tickets are stupid high. I'm not going to spend $25 to go see a movie I know I'm not going to like, when I can watch it on the streaming service I've already paid for a year in a few months. So, moving on. Mark Hamill is under fire. Vanity Fair put out a article, and the article headline reads, "Of course Luke Skywalker is gay, confirms Mark Hamill, echoing thousands of fan fiction prayers." And the subheadline, "The Chosen One himself confessed that Luke Skywalker's sexual orientation is up for free interpretation." Of course, no one reads the secondary headline. They all read that first headline where Mark Hamill said Luke Skywalker's gay. And I mean, as any Star Wars fans knows, Disney got rid of the extended universe a while ago. So we have not seen hide nor hair of Mara Jade in the Disney Star Wars films, which is sad. And I've talked about Disney Star Wars, and how I absolutely loathe it. Even Rogue One. I know a lot of people love Rogue One. I recently rewatched it, and it's not a good movie. It just isn't a good movie. It's okay. It was a movie made to fill what a lot of people think is a plot hole, which is not a plot hole, because a 2 meter, and 2 meters for us Americans is a little over 6 feet. I think it's like 6.5 feet, something like that. So a 2 meter exhaust port on a space station the size of a moon is not that big at all. In fact, that's probably a small exhaust port. Like, look at the exhaust on your car, and like blow your car up to the size of a moon, and then blow that exhaust port up. I guarantee it's going to be bigger than 2 meters. So they created a movie for a plot hole that wasn't a plot hole, that some dumbass fans who are very loud on Twitter yelled about. But anyways, back to Mark Hamill. So a lot of people are pissed off at Mark Hamill. I mean, he has gone a little too far left. We like to keep it center here at the channel, but he's gone a little too far left since Trump's first term. He was a very big opponent of Trump, and just for the record, I'm not a fan of Trump, not a fan of Biden and Kamala either, just for the record. Yeah, Mark Hamill got a little out there with some of his political tweets and things like that. But I got to defend my boy Luke Skywalker here, because this is what he said. This is his actual quote. "Fans are writing and ask all these questions. I'm bullied in school. I'm afraid to come out. They say to me, could Luke be gay? I'd say it's meant to be it's meant to be interpreted by the viewer. If you think Luke is gay, of course he is. You should not be ashamed of it. Judge Luke by his character, not by who he loves." Perfect example of a good character. A character who is not defined by his race, his nationality, his sexuality, and you could switch that for her too, or gender. It's a character that is defined by their characteristics. And the only time in the movies, mind you, that we see a love interest sort of for Luke is in A New Hope, and a little bit in Empire. In A New Hope, he says how pretty Leia is, and then when Han is inquiring if a girl like Leia could go for a guy like Han, Luke immediately shoots it down, not to defend Leia's honor or anything like that, but because he's kind of like, no, I kind of like her. And then, of course, like the kiss and the smirk he gives Han at the start of Empire. Again, this is all before we knew Leia was his sister. Lucas didn't decide on that until he was writing the third film. Very little of the Star Wars trilogy was planned out. Lucas was just kind of flying by the seat of his pants, and luckily he had good writers working with him on those to make it a little bit better. But again, Luke is not defined by his sexuality. We really don't see it like, again, that's the closest we see to a love interest of Luke in the films. And we see none of it in the Disney films, because again, Jedis are not supposed to have attachments, so of course Luke would not have an attachment being a Jedi Master and things like that, except for the extended universe with Mara. It's a whole different story. If you have not read the Thrawn trilogy, Heir to the Empire, and the Hand of Thrawn series by Timothy Zahn, go read those or get the audiobook. They're fantastic. In fact, I just re-listened to the audio because I read the books back when I was in middle school, high school, whenever they came out, mid-90s, so somewhere around there. And then with Audible, I had a free trial, so I downloaded those books on the trial and listened to them. God, they're good. And it's what Star Wars is supposed to be, not what Disney churned out. But anyways, again, Luke's not defined by that. Luke is this... He's the hero's journey. He's the classic hero's journey, the Joe Scott Campbell hero's journey. He's this farm boy who feels he has more of a destiny than being a moisture farmer. And he pursues that destiny because of a wizard said, you're a wizard, Harry, or something like that. I don't know. He called him Luke Picard, something like that. I don't do all this nerd stuff. That's a joke. But yeah, so Luke goes on this adventure, and he's defined by his heroics and what he does. At no point does Lucas make anything about Luke having attachments, because that's not what the Jedi is supposed to be, and it works. So if you want to think Luke's gay, I mean, you're perfectly well and to interpret that. I mean, anything that's left open-ended and that is not said in art can be interpreted. You can interpret it any way. That might not be what the writer or the filmmaker had intended you to interpret it, but you can. So, I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a young gay man, a young lesbian woman, feeling just unsure about themselves. They don't want to come out. But if they want to look to Luke Skywalker as being that, sure, they can do that. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And again, Mark Hamill, if I was Mark Hamill, I'd be pissed at Vanity Fair, because he gets enough hate online for his political views. He doesn't need Vanity Fair stupid clickbait shit to help Twitter pile on the hate, or X, to pile on the hate to him. And he shouldn't be, because he didn't say what the headline alludes him to saying. He just said, if that gay young man wants to interpret Luke Skywalker as being gay, to help him have the courage to be himself, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, and it should not be... no one should shit on Luke Skywalker. No one should shit on Luke Skywalker, but no one should be shitting on Mark Hamill for that at all. And again, Vanity Fair, I think, owes him an apology, because he's probably catching a lot of flack for nothing, if I'm being completely honest with you. So, no, it's a much ado about nothing. Mark Hamill did not say or confirm that Luke is gay. He just said, if you want to interpret that, you can, because Luke is not defined by his sexuality. And any good character should not be defined by their sexuality. Any good character should be defined by their characteristics and who they are, and not by their race, not by their gender, not by their sexuality. When you make a character all about those things, it's a very shallow character, and they very rarely are likable beyond a surface level likability that an actor might bring to that role. So, I mean, kudos for Mark Hamill, and kudos for George Lucas for creating this character that people can project things on and interpret the way they want to interpret. So, absolutely nothing wrong there. Mark Hamill said nothing wrong. So, if you just saw the headline, or you saw someone's tweet, and it made you mad, get all the facts first. You got them here. Thank you for watching. And just know that that's not what Mark Hamill said. And Mark Hamill is just reaching out, obviously, to a nervous and or scared and or unsure of themselves fan, and just helping this young person out, which is kudos to Mark Hamill. Good job, Mark. And then lastly, the PlayStation State of Play. I wanted to watch this. Unfortunately, my obligations of being a husband and being a father prevented me from watching it because I thought about live streaming it, but I had a feeling there wasn't going to be anything big announced. I just had this inkling that I wasn't going to be missing out on anything. And while I was doing my husbandly and fatherly duties, I was scrolling. I was updating Twitter with a couple video game news outlets I follow, and nothing great was announced. And of course, because nothing great was announced, a lot of people are not happy with Sony. We did get a new Metal Gear Solid trailer. We got a Borderlands trailer. We did get a Sonic Racers announcement, and that's going to have other Sega characters. Shinobi's coming back. I think we kind of knew Shinobi was coming back. I think that was announced when Sega was doing their announcements, a lot of their hibernating IPs. But yeah, nothing super duper got announced there. We got Darwin's Paradox, Dave the Diver, Ichiban's Holiday. So that's kind of cool. We got the Yakuza crossover that. We got a Days Gone remaster. Directive 8020. I have heard zero people talk about this. I've got to check out that trailer. I got another Five Nights at Freddy's. Life of Pi. Is that DLC? Yeah, DLC. We got another trailer for Like a Dragon, Pirate, Yakuza in Hawaii. And yeah, just nothing that set the world on fire for anybody. More Monster Hunter, but everyone kind of knew that was coming. Onimusha 2 is getting a re-release. Onimusha Way of the Sword trailer drop. But yeah, nothing just got like anybody excited. So a lot of people have been online kind of pissed off and disappointed. But it's one of those things, it's like, you have to temper your expectations. That's one thing I do love about Nintendo with their directs. They don't want to get people's hopes up. So with like the announcement of the Switch 2, they're saying, we're not talking about the Switch 2 or the next generation system, because I don't even think they were calling it the Switch 2 there. We're not talking about it. It's not going to be in this direct. So Nintendo does a really good job of tempering expectations for things like that. When they know there's a fever pitch for something, Nintendo will come right out and say, it's not going to be on this direct. Just so, you don't get all pissy. And Nintendo does a pretty decent job of tempering expectations, but then also sprinkling in some surprises within their directs to get you excited. So it's like, oh, I wanted to see this thing, but oh, you sprinkled in these little announcements that I didn't expect, and I'm excited now. So they did a good job of that. Sony and Microsoft just kind of say, like, we're doing this. And so then people get in their minds like, oh, this could be announced here. We've been waiting on this, we've been waiting on that. And they'll pick out little clues like Bloodborne. The 60 frames per second fan mod was DMC'd. So everyone and their brother thought, oh, they're announcing a remaster of Bloodborne coming to the PlayStation 5 Pro. And that's why they did the cease and desist for the fan mod and things like that. And so everyone was hyped for that, and it didn't show up. And so everyone was disappointed for something Sony didn't say was going to be there. So it's just always funny doing that. And again, like, I'm not immune to it. I was really hoping, Capcom, you keep disappointing me. Every time we get one of these things, I keep expecting Capcom to announce a Dino Crisis remake. I just want it. I'm trying to will it into existence. I want it so bad because I'm this close to buying it on GOG. But I don't want to play the tank controls. I hate tank controls. I hated tank controls when they were the new thing. I didn't like them. And I'll be damned if I'm going to play them in 2025. But I just might have to, because I do want to play Dino Crisis again. So I might just have to suck it up and buy the damn game and play the stupid tank controls and watch as soon as I buy it. Just like they did with Max Payne. As soon as I buy it, they're going to announce the remake. And I'm like, of course. So, and then of course, there's been no hint at this, but I keep hoping that Square Enix is going to announce a Chrono Trigger 2.5D remake. Not even, I guess, remake, but 2.5D remaster of Chrono Trigger, because I don't want Chrono Trigger to be in 3D. I don't want it to be remade like they did with Final Fantasy. I want Chrono Trigger in the 16-bit polygons, But if they were to do, honestly, I just want. I mean, I do own it on Steam, but I just want Chrono Trigger released on my Switch because I do. As much as I like my Lenovo Legion Go, I like my Switch better. I can't explain it. I'm a Nintendo fanboy, I guess. But I want a 2.5D Chrono Trigger. I want an excuse to buy another hard copy of Chrono Trigger because I have owned all the copies of Chrono Trigger. I've owned the SNES version, which sadly has been lost in my move to Central Virginia. Ugh. I mean, it still might be in a box somewhere, but I think I've gone through everything. I don't know what happened to it. It's sad. I own a complete inbox Japanese edition. I've owned both PlayStation versions, the original PlayStation release and the greatest hits. I have the DS version. I now have the Steam version. I will probably be buying the Japanese PlayStation version when I'm in Japan next month, just to complete the collection. So Square Enix, you've got at least one sale right there. I want to buy another version of it physically, and I'll buy that for my Switch. So, again, I'm not immune to the whole getting your hopes up kind of thing like that. But I temper my expectations to where I want them to announce it, and I hope they announce it. But realistically, I know the two games I want to get announced are probably never happening. So, I don't get very disappointed when I watch these shows and they don't get announced. I just am sad and dead a little inside. But speaking of my Legion Go, it's going to come soon. I don't know when because I'm taking my time playing it. I'm enjoying it. I downloaded a fan translation of Mother 3. It's one of those gray areas. We've talked about emulation on this channel before. Emulation ROMs are kind of a gray area for me. I think if you can buy from the original developer a game, I think you should. Just because they own the rights to it and they've put hard work into it. And if they've done a remake or if they've done a remaster or they've just reissued it, it does take time and money to do those things. So I think you should reward them, especially if you really love a classic game, by buying it. Because generally speaking, they're pretty inexpensive. Like I paid, I think $5 for Chrono Trigger on Steam. Got it with a sale. But I think even when it's not on sale, it's like 7 or 8. So it's not stupid expensive. But like I said, Mother 3 falls into a gray area. I will be looking for a complete inbox copy while I'm in Japan, just to have it, because generally speaking, if I have a ROM for a system I don't have or don't play or can't translate, I generally like to have a hard copy of it, because then legally I can own that ROM because it's a backup file kind of thing like that, so I don't have to worry about cease and desist or anything like that. But again, Mother 3 is kind of one of those gray areas. Nintendo, for whatever reason, has never brought a translated version over to the US. I kind of understand why it wasn't brought over on the Game Boy Advance. Earthbound, which is Mother 2, did not sell that well, but also their advertising for Earthbound was stupid. And so I kind of understand Nintendo not bringing it over on the Game Boy Advance. And I don't know the sales for the Game Boy Advance. It probably did well enough, but I don't think it did as well as the Game Boy and not nearly as well as the DS. Kind of thing, so I get that. I think had they originally made it for the N64 like the original plan was, or the N64 DD, had that not died out, I think it probably would have come over to the West, but I don't think they were going to bring a Game Boy Advance game over. And they've teased us for, I think since the Wii Virtual Console, they have teased us that they were going to bring it over to like the Virtual Console or the Nintendo Switch Online, Wii U Virtual Console, the 3DS Virtual Console, and they never have. So it was one of those things. I really wanted to play it. I've wanted to play it for years, and I have no idea why all of a sudden, just out of the blue, the other day, I called up a buddy of mine who does all the emulation and the ROMs, and whenever I'm looking for a game, I'm like, dude, send me a link. And he just he finds the link to it. I was like, hey, I need a fan translation of Mother 3. I want to play it. And I'm like 3-4 hours in. I'm loving the hell out of the game. In fact, I like it more than I liked Earthbound, which may be sacrilege to some people. I don't know. I don't know the relation to people liking Earthbound versus liking Mother 3 kind of thing. So I don't know like where fans stand. I know Earthbound's a classic and is in a lot of people's top 5 lists and things like that. I think it made my top 10. I have to go back and look at my list again. But Mother 3, I'm really, really enjoying, and just kind of like early review kind of thing for me. I think it has a potential when I revisit my top video game list of all time. It has the potential to be in the top 5. It is just a really likable, enjoyable game. I'm just really, really into it. I'm liking the characters and the story so far and everything like that. I'm going to do a review on it, but like I said, I'm taking my time playing it. I'm just like on the couch with the wife, on the couch with the kids, watching TV with my Legion Go, playing some Earthbound, Mother 3, Earthbound 2. What would we call it in the States? Would they just call it Mother 3 if they dropped it on the Switch Online? Would they just call it? I figure at this point, you just got to call it Mother 3, like how Final Fantasy has dropped the whole Final Fantasy 3 for Final Fantasy 6 when they did the Pixel Collection. It's just 1 through 6, and when they did the DS versions again, it was just I think 1 through 3 were on the Game Boy Advance, and then 4 through 6 were on the DS and PlayStation. So they just kind of dropped the whole US numbering. Same with like the Yakuza series. They're now calling it Like a Dragon, no longer calling it Yakuza. So I think if Nintendo did finally bring us Mother 3 on Switch Online, or to buy it, I mean, if they're smart, they just charge you $5 to buy it. A ton of people would buy it and then make a ton of money for just dumping a ROM. Like literally just this fan translation seems pretty perfect. Just go to them, offer them some money for their work, and then dump it online for like $5. And I guarantee you they'll sell a ton and make their money back easily. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm taking my time playing it. So I think when I'm done, I'm going to do a whole retrospect, kind of like I did with the Alan Wake series on it. So yeah, I mean that's the news brief. Talking a little bit about emulation and ROMs. I think I'm going to revisit my emulation ROM video and do a new one. I do enjoy talking about it. It's a fun thing. But there's your news brief. Let me know in the comments what you think about the things we talked about today. Have you played Mother 3? Do you like it? Are you going to go see Captain America? If you do, let me know what you thought of it. I do want to get some fan reaction, not just critic reaction. What do you think about Mark Hamill's comments and PlayStation State of Play? Were you disappointed in it? Did you like it? I think I've seen a lot of fan polls out there. A lot of people are giving it a C. So that seems like it's just kind of mid is what average is what people were saying. Like it didn't blow anybody away. So let me know A, B, C, D, or F. What do you think of the PlayStation State of Play? And as always, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you back next week. Take care now. Bye.